Yeah, so if you go back in history and see, Microsoft was the sole partner for OpenAI, and they had most of their cloud needs going through Microsoft's cloud. But at one point, Microsoft said, we already have a whole lot of exposure, and allowed OpenAI to go work with other vendors. And Oracle was the big winner at that point. So they have a very big contract with OpenAI called Stargate, under which we have data center construction going on in Texas and the whole thing.
Abilene, Texas.
Yeah. It's a very big project. And that really led to OpenAI signing up a very big contract with Oracle north of, we think it's about $300 billion or so, which is most of their backlog, to be very frank, for Oracle. But just about a few, I would say a couple of weeks ago or so, Amazon signed a big contract with OpenAI to be one of their cloud partners. Amazon also invested about they're supposed to invest about $30 billion in OpenAI. So now the big question on today's call is for Oracle management to come and explain that, they still have a sizable presence in this relationship and how that business is not going to get impacted. I think that to us is the number one question we would be asking.
Do they still have a relationship?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I know Brody the other day reported that there is some delay in the expansion or some issues with that Abilene data center, but that the first phase of it is still going. They still have a lot of revenue to be recognized, because one of the things there is a big worry in the market is how is somebody like an Oracle going to fund some of this expansion? And again, a few weeks ago, they said they're going to raise up to $50 billion, both as a mix of debt and equity in the market, to fulfill some of these obligations. So that's going to be the second thing you want to know and say, how are you funding this thing? Is it even profitable? What's the internal rate of return for some of these contracts? So there's a lot that I think is going to happen today on their call.
Oracle's free cash flow has actually gone negative, hasn't it?
Yes, but you would expect that. See, when you are investing that amount of money to expand the data center work, and you are betting on being, let's say, one of the bigger cloud providers out there, you are going to go through these hiccups. But remember, Oracle is a very profitable database business. It has very good application software business. So, I mean, they do generate a good amount of free cash flow if you were to not think about these investments.
More broadly, are chips design advancing at the same pace that the AI data center build-out is occurring?
Yeah. So what's happening on that end is these companies that are creating these data centers are creating with the idea of the next generation NVIDIA chips, for example. So whatever NVIDIA is selling right now, they're going to design a data center with that way. Now, down the road, if you get a brand new chip with new capabilities, you can make changes to that infrastructure and sell that. So they are made in a way that are fairly flexible to utilize whatever chips that are provided by the likes of NVIDIA or, to be honest, anybody else.
What do the AI-related backlogs look like for the company?
So for Oracle, that's the big one. It's very strong right now. It's north of 500 billion. But as I said, our calculations say that over 300 of that is just from OpenAI. We need to know whether OpenAI is still holding their promise to, take care of that 300 billion, or is there any changes to that particular agreement?
Okay. Let's move on to Apple for a second. A number of stories out today, but. How far, I want to ask you, how far behind are they in artificial intelligence with respect to everybody else?
Yeah, see, I think it's an apples and oranges situation, because to be very honest, they are licensing the products that are being built by somebody else. So in this particular case, Gemini's models will be used to take care of the next version of Siri. Why does Apple need to go out and create their own large language model when they can license the best technology in the world from somebody else? And they don't need to spend that much in capital expenditures that way.
Do I care where Apple's stuff is made? Who makes
That's
it?
Exactly my point. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So, for example, let me give you
shifting from China to India.
Well, that is important from an export point of view and duties point of view, because, when you are diversifying away from China, which I think they should be doing anyway, the reason for that is because, you don't want everything to be isolated in one area. You will, I think India is another one. I'm also thinking there's going to be other countries down the road, maybe Vietnam, where they're going to add more capacity to build, some of these products, going forward.
Real quick, before you go, like 20 seconds, the software stocks. So what's going on today?
Well, I think it's a mix of the software semi-trade that we have been looking at for a while. Software's been going down because there's a massive depression in the way some of these fears about that AI is going to eat software. So that's one. I think the more recent depression is because of potential decline in tech spending because of the war in Middle East.